Hi class, how you guys doing? Welcome to Module 2. All right, so by way of review, let's jump back through Module 1. And what did we do? So we were introduced to symbols and icons and their relationship to logo development. So after this week, you should have a good idea of this relationship that is created and the reasoning why we use icons and symbols. And especially you should have a really good understanding of how to use symbols and icons and their relationship to logo development. Okay, this all has to do with developing a visual shorthand language. Quite often that shorthand visual language ends up in the development of a logo. All right, so we need to understand these conceptual ties between logo, icon, and symbol, specifically how symbols and icons are used to create logos. And that, my friends, is basically the essence of this class. Okay, so week 1, it's a pretty busy module. There's a lot to cover here. Guys, if you didn't link out and check these outside links, definitely do so. There's a few of them, and they're definitely worth it. A lot of outside links in this class, and you are expected to visit those because a lot of information is presented in the links themselves, okay? So one thing I'll draw your attention to in week 1 is this. It says all final assignments for this class will be mounted on black foam core, presented in presentation board, and photograph. This means you should have black foam core readily available, as well as X-Acto knives and or a utility blade for cutting, a camera to shoot, and some sort of contact cement or some way to adhere the work to the mounting board. So what does this mean? This means go out and get yourself some foam core boards, poster boards. Okay, you're going to trim those to size. All right, what you're going to end up doing is taking your final presentation. So for example, your final when the time comes, you're going to take your final. This is just for the finals too, guys, just for the finals. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your final icons, the 3 icons, right? And you're going to develop them digitally, right? So once they're in a final state, you're going to submit the digital version. But you're also going to print out those digital versions of the icons. You're going to print those out and mount those on those 6x6 black foam cores, photograph them, and then submit those. Okay, so I am going to recommend that if you have a chance, even a half a chance, if you get any opportunity, I'll print your work at Kinko's. All right. The difference being is that the machines that Kinko's use for their digital printing they're $25,000 machines, and they do a much superior job to our, my $100 home printer. Can't even compare in quality to the machines at Kinko's. So please feel free to have your work printed at Kinko's. I would prefer that you did. You'll have much better results, more suitable for portfolio presentation as well. Okay, so be sure you understand the requirements for final submissions for the 3 projects in the class, that they do need to be printed, mounted, and photographed. Cell phone camera is fine. If you have a DSLR, if you have a camera, go ahead and use it. If you have a digital camera, that's great. DSLR would be fantastic. If you don't have access to a digital camera, cell phone cameras are the technology has come so far. As a matter of fact, an iPhone camera right now is competitive with the DSLR cameras of 10 years ago. So they yield outstanding results. So don't be afraid to use your phone camera. Remember, craft counts here. So make sure the lighting is good when you shoot. Make sure there's no shadows. Just make sure that you're doing a good job. And craft counts here, guys. So that's important. All right. So last week, what did we do? We provided sketches. Okay. So we had sketches. We had our 3. We had an icon creation for an emotion, an animal, and an object. Okay, so what you did is you developed your sketches: 3 sketches for an emotion, 3 sketches for an animal, 3 sketches for an object. Let's jump into week 2, see where we're going here. So in week 2, we're going to study a little bit more about developing great icons. What makes a great icon? Good video here. Really fantastic resources this week. Some great examples, guys. These are great examples of objects for our project, right? So definitely take a look at those. This is designing app icons, but it is directly related to our work here. Even though it is app icons, it definitely is a great video showing how to design icons. All right, there's 5 core aspects of icon design. These are pretty darn good. And then we've got these outside resources. Continue your research. Why are these relevant? Because they are directly related to this week's attendance question. This week's attendance question is simply, In your own words, please describe what makes a great icon, guys. All right, so describe it, and please plan on responding to me, because I'm going to use the attendance discussion as a discussion board. Okay, so not only are you answering the question as detailed as you possibly can, and when I say detailed, go ahead and include 4 or 5 well-developed sentences to answer the question. Use the course resources to back up, but write in your own words, right? And then there's a good chance I'm gonna put a question in there. I'm gonna ask you a question about your post, and I would really, really appreciate and expect to see responses to those. Now, even though it's only an attendance discussion board, we are going to treat it as a discussion board, so responses are required. Feel free to respond to each other too, guys. It is an open forum, as you know, so please feel free to respond to each other. I'd like to see a little more engagement in that attendance discussion board. Okay, so this week's assignment, I kind of wrote digital rough. So this for assignment, and take a look at the videos. There's some great tutorial videos. But you're going to use your instructor review. So that means that when you submit on your sketches on Sunday night of week 2, I'm going to provide feedback relatively quickly, and you'll apply that feedback to your digital roughs. Okay, now the digital roughs are going to be this. So last week we've got 3 icons, right? Emotion, animal, and an object. And you provided 3 sketches for each of those. What you're going to do this week is you're going to select your best sketch for all 3, so each of the 3, okay? And you're going to develop these into digital roughs using Adobe Illustrator. Don't use Photoshop, guys. Use Illustrator. These are icons. They need to be scalable. If you are not understanding what I just said, so if you're not understanding why I said don't use Photoshop for scalable graphics, you need to get with me. So that's a very, very important concept dealing with the differences between raster and vector graphics. Okay, so please, if that comment didn't make sense, you got to get with me as soon as possible so we can iron that out. At any rate, you're going to use Illustrator for your digital roughs to remain scalable. And then what you're going to do is you're going to submit 3 digital roughs. Okay, so basically what we have is last week we had the 3 icons, right? Emotion, animal, object. You had 3 examples of each in your sketches. Based on my feedback, you're going to pick the best of those 3 sketches, develop that into your digital rough, which means that you're going to turn in 3 digital roughs, right? So you'll have your final digital rough for your at any rate, as I'm saying, is that what you're going to do is you're going to develop the best of the sketches into a digital rough. So you'll be submitting 3 digital roughs for this assignment. 1 for the object, 1 for the emotion, 1 for the animal. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we'll comment on those. All right, we'll make our final comments on those, and then you're going to develop those into your final icons where you submit them, mount them, photograph them, etc. And that will be due. That comes next week. Okay. So again, in summary, what you're going to do for the assignment is you're going to take your sketches from week 1. All right. There are a total of 9 sketches for each one: 3 for the object, 3 for the animal, 3 for the emotion. What you're going to do is submit those. I'm going to give you feedback and decide which one is the best way to go. Then what you're going to do is develop the 3 best examples from the 9 total into your digital roughs, yielding a version of a a digital rough for the emotion, a digital rough for the animal, a digital rough for the object. Then I'll provide feedback for that, and you'll develop and incorporate that feedback into your final presentation for next week for this assignment. Okay? All right, guys, that's what I have for Module 2. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, please, guys. You know I'm right here. I'm pretty good about getting right back. I'm still